Ancient architects spoke a silent language written in stone and light. Their words were the stars themselves. We are about to translate that cosmic code by exploring 20 ancient structures aligned perfectly with the heavens. By the end, you will see human history as a single star-charted story of ingenuity. How did cultures separated by oceans and millennia achieve such impossible precision without modern tools? And what urgent message were they trying to send across time? What does our own world lose when we no longer look up and wonder? This silent language of the sky has a name in the modern world, a field of study that acts as our translator. Archaeoastronomy is the key that unlocks these celestial blueprints. It stands at the crossroads of two great disciplines, archaeology and astronomy, asking a profound question. How did ancient cultures perceive the cosmos, and more importantly, how did they build their reality in its reflected image? This is far more than spotting a temple doorway that happens to catch a sunrise. It is a detective's work, searching for intentional, repeated patterns etched into the landscape. These patterns mark moments of supreme cosmic importance. The day when light and dark hold perfect balance at the equinox, the longest day of the year at the summer solstice, or the shortest at the winter solstice. The first pre-dawn appearance of a star like Sirius, an event known as its helical rising, which for the Egyptians signaled the life-giving Nile flood. To understand these alignments, we must appreciate the monumental effort behind them. Think of the patient, meticulous work of researchers like Alexander Thom, who spent decades measuring the angles and sightlines of ancient British stone circles. His studies suggested these were not rough monuments, but precise astronomical observatories built with Neolithic tools. Achieving such precision required generations of dedicated sky watchers, people who passed their knowledge down through oral traditions and ritual, building a cultural memory spanning centuries. They were engineers of time itself, seeking to harmonize the rhythms of their society, planting, harvesting, celebrating with the grand, predictable cycles of the heavens. With this foundation, we can begin our journey not as casual tourists, but as interpreters, ready to read the first lines of a story written in stone and starlight. That staggering precision begins with a foundation laid not by chance, but by celestial observation. To align the pyramid's massive base with the four cardinal directions, ancient Egyptian architects likely used a simple, brilliant method tied to the motion of a single star. They would have observed a chosen star as it rose and set over the course of a year, marking its positions on the horizon. The midpoint between these two extreme points would indicate true north and south with remarkable accuracy. This method transformed the slow dance of the heavens into a practical, earthly blueprint, turning the entire desert plateau into a giant surveying instrument. But the pyramid's connection to the sky was not just about orientation, it was about destination. Deep within its heart, narrow shafts, often mistakenly called air shafts, angle upward from the central chambers. For a long time, their purpose was a mystery sealed within stone. Then, in the 1960s, an astronomer named Virginia Trimble proposed a revolutionary idea. She suggested these were not ventilation channels, but carefully angled sightlines to specific stars. This theory gained powerful support from the work of researchers like Robert Bovell in the 1990s. Bovell noted that the southern shaft from the king's chamber during the pyramid's construction era pointed directly toward the star Al-Nitak, the brightest star in Orion's belt. In Egyptian mythology, Orion was linked to Osiris, the god of the afterlife and rebirth. The three stars of the belt were seen as his celestial embodiment. Meanwhile, the northern shafts aimed toward the circumpolar stars, specifically Thuban, which was the pole star at that time. These stars, known as the imperishable ones, were believed to be the eternal resting place of a pharaoh's soul. So the pyramid becomes more than a monument, it becomes a cosmic launch pad. The design suggests a profound belief that the pharaoh's spirit would travel through these stone channels, navigating by the stars to join Osiris in the eternal heavens. It is architecture as a vehicle for transcendence, a stairway built not of steps but of starlight, ensuring the ruler's journey from earthly king to immortal star. This fusion of myth, astronomy, and engineering in a single structure sets a breathtaking precedent for everything that follows on our list. While the pyramids charted a pharaoh's path to the stars, another ancient culture built a monument to capture the sun itself. On the windswept Salisbury Plain in England, Stonehenge rises from the earth, a ring of massive stones that has stood in silent testimony for over 4,000 years. For centuries, its purpose was a magnificent enigma, a puzzle of colossal scale. Was it a temple, a fortress, a royal burial ground? While evidence suggests it served many roles over its long life, one feature is undeniable and etched into its very bones. Stonehenge is a masterwork of solar alignment, the central axis of the entire monument, framed by the outlying heel stone and the inner slaughter stone, points directly toward the spot on the horizon where the sun rises on the longest day of the year, the summer solstice. On that singular morning, if you stand at the exact center of the circle and look northeast, the sun's first blazing edge breaks the horizon precisely over the tip of the heel stone. For a breathtaking moment, a shaft of light pours down this ancient corridor, flooding the stone heart of the circle with the year's first golden light. It is a theatrical display of celestial engineering, a moment of alignment so precise it feels intentional, because it absolutely was, but the builder's ambition reached beyond the sun. Researchers studying the layout have proposed that the four so-called station stones, set in a rectangle around the main circle, were not merely boundary markers. They may have been used to track something far more complex and subtle, the slow, majestic dance of the moon. The moon does not simply rise and set in the same pattern each night. Over a cycle of roughly 18.6 years, the points on the horizon where it rises and sets slowly shift to their northernmost and southernmost extremes, events known as lunar standstills. Marking these extreme points would have required generations of patient observation, a knowledge passed down through oral tradition. This dual function transforms our understanding of Stonehenge. It was not just a solar temple, but potentially a sophisticated prehistoric observatory, a Neolithic computer built from sarsen stone and bluestone. It synchronized the two great lights of the sky, the sun and the moon, into a single, predictable calendar. This celestial clockwork dictated the essential rhythms of life for its builders. The solstice sunrise may have signaled the time for major gatherings, for ceremonies of renewal, or for the vital planning of the agricultural year. In this way, Stonehenge bound the community to the cosmos, making the vast, impersonal cycles of the heavens intimate, visible, and absolutely central to survival. It represents a different kind of celestial language, one not of individual journey, but of communal harmony with the turning world. The story of cosmic alignment now takes us to a place of profound darkness and a single, piercing ray of light. In the lush Boyne Valley of Ireland, a great grass-covered mound known as Newgrange has silently watched the sky for over 5,000 years. This makes it older than Stonehenge and even the Great Pyramids of Giza. From the outside, it appears as a large, circular hill, but within lies a secret of staggering precision. Newgrange is a passage tomb, a sacred resting place, and its true purpose is revealed for only a few precious minutes each year. The key to this mystery is a small, unassuming opening above the main entrance, a feature archaeologists call the roof box. For the rest of the year, it remains a dark slit in the stone. But around the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, something miraculous happens. As the sun crests the distant horizon on those cold, late December mornings, a narrow beam of golden light finds its way through this roof box. It is not a flood of illumination, but a precise, laser-like shaft. This beam travels down the entire length of the interior passage, a corridor 19 meters long, and finally spills into the central chamber, deep within the heart of the mound. For approximately 17 minutes, this inner sanctum, a space built to honor those who came before, is bathed in a radiant, otherworldly glow. Then, as swiftly as it arrived, the light retreats, and the chamber returns to darkness for another full year. The alignment is so exact that it cannot possibly be an accident. The Neolithic builders engineered the entire passage with a precise upward slope, angling it perfectly to capture the very lowest arc of the winter sun. This was celestial engineering on a breathtaking scale, achieved millennia before the invention of modern tools. The meaning behind this spectacle is powerful. In the deepest dark of the year, when life seems to retreat and the cold settles in, the sun itself was summoned into the realm of the ancestors. This event would have symbolized the ultimate promise, the triumph of light over darkness, and the guaranteed return of warmth and life. It connected the community's past, represented by those within the tomb, directly to the cyclical, life-giving future promised by the sun. Newgrange is not merely a monument aligned to the sky. It is a machine for creating hope, a physical manifestation of a culture's deepest belief in renewal and continuity. It asks us a compelling question: what does it mean to build a structure not just to mark time, but to actively participate in the most vital cycle of all? From the dark, hopeful chamber of Newgrange, we journey to a place where light performs a different kind of magic, one of dazzling public spectacle. In the heart of the Yucatan Peninsula, the ancient Maya city of Chichen Itza stands as a testament to a civilization that wove time, architecture, and divinity into a single, breathtaking experience. Their masterpiece is the step pyramid known as El Castillo, a structure that functions with the precision of a giant stone calendar. Each of its 4 sides is graced with 91 steep steps. When you add the single shared platform at the very top, the total becomes 365, one for every day in the solar year. This numerical harmony is just the silent foundation. The pyramid's true voice is heard only twice a year, during the spring and autumn equinoxes, when day and night stand in perfect balance. On those evenings, as the sun begins its descent, something extraordinary unfolds. The setting sun strikes the northwest corner of the pyramid, and the play of light and shadow becomes a form of sacred theater. A series of 7 distinct triangular shadows cascade down the northern balustrade, connecting at the bottom with stone serpent heads carved at the base. To the watching crowd, it creates the undeniable illusion of a great, undulating serpent body slithering down the staircase. This is the manifestation of Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god, a deity of water, wind, and wisdom, descending from the heavens to touch the earth. This was not a hidden secret for a chosen few, like the beam in Newgrange. This was a public spectacle of immense scale, designed to be witnessed by thousands. The alignment served as a powerful, unassailable demonstration of the Maya elite's sacred authority. By predicting and orchestrating the descent of a god, they showed a command over the very cycles of the cosmos itself. It fused their profound astronomical knowledge, which tracked solar years with incredible accuracy, with political power and religious belief. The equinox shadow play was a living reaffirmation that the ruler's power was in harmony with the universe, a celestial endorsement written in light and stone for all to see. It reminds us that for these ancient cultures, astronomy was never a detached science. It was the essential script for the most important dramas of community, faith, and power. While the Maya orchestrated a serpent's descent, another civilization engineered a moment where the sun itself entered the house of a god. The Temple of Karnak in Luxor is not a single building, but a sprawling city of stone, a testament to architectural ambition that grew for over 2,000 years. Within this vast complex, the Great Temple of Amun-Re holds a secret alignment of profound symbolic power. Its entire central axis, stretching through towering gateways and forest-like halls of columns, was precisely oriented toward the setting sun on the winter solstice. Imagine the shortest day of the year drawing to a close. As the sun dipped low in the southwestern sky, its final golden rays would have pierced the main entrance. That light would then travel like a divine visitor, moving down the central corridor, passing through a series of doorways that grew progressively smaller, each frame concentrating the beam further. It would navigate the shadowy grandeur of the hypostyle hall, with its 134 massive columns meant to resemble a primordial papyrus marsh, and finally arrive at the most sacred space of all, the inner sanctuary. There it would illuminate the cult statue of Amun-Re, the king of the gods, a figure normally shrouded in darkness and secrecy. This was not merely a pretty light show. It was a carefully engineered theological statement in stone and light. For the ancient Egyptians, the pharaoh was the sole earthly intermediary between the people and the gods. By designing a temple where the sun god physically reunited with his own image on the darkest day, the architecture reinforced the pharaoh's essential role. He was the guarantor of this cosmic connection, the one who maintained the order of the universe, or Mat. The temple transformed from a passive container of faith into an active participant in the solar cycle. On that one evening each year, heaven did not just feel close, it reached down a tangible, luminous path to touch the earth, validating the entire structure of their world. This alignment at Karnak speaks to a desire not just to observe the cosmos, but to invite it directly into the heart of human ritual, making the abstract relationship between king, god, and sun undeniably, brilliantly real. High in the thin air of the Peruvian Andes, Machu Picchu clings to a mountain ridge like a stone prayer. This lost city of the Inca is a masterpiece of integration, where architecture, landscape, and sky become a single harmonious system. While its terraces mirror the contours of the mountains and its buildings align with sacred peaks, the citadel's most profound conversation was with the sun. At the heart of this celestial dialogue stands a unique and powerful artifact, the Intihuatana stone. Its name translates poetically as the hitching post of the sun. This is not a metaphor, it was a functional tool. The intricately carved granite pillar, shaped through patient abrasion rather than metal tools, served as a sophisticated astronomical clock and calendar. On the days of the equinox, when day and night are equal, the sun positions itself almost directly overhead. At that precise moment, the pillar casts no shadow at all. It is a moment of suspended balance, a tangible demonstration of cosmic equilibrium captured in stone. For the Inca, this was more than an observation, it was an act of participation. They believed the stone literally held the sun in place, preventing it from continuing its journey north and securing its return, ensuring the cycles of seasons and agriculture upon which their empire depended. But the Inca astronomers did not stop with a single stone. They engineered the entire landscape to serve as an observatory. Within the Temple of the Sun, a carefully positioned window frames the rising sun on the June solstice, the shortest day of the year in the southern hemisphere. This beam of light would illuminate a specific ceremonial niche inside, marking the sun's turning point with ritual significance. Other sightlines across the city align with the rising of important stars like the Pleiades, used to calibrate the planting calendar. This fusion of the sacred and the practical was essential. The Inca state was an agricultural titan, managing crops across extreme altitudes. Knowing the exact timing of solstices and equinoxes was not philosophical. It was a matter of survival, dictating when to plant potatoes and maize. Their veneration of the sun god Inti was therefore deeply pragmatic. By building structures that physically captured the sun's key moments, they were honoring the divine source of all life while simultaneously governing the empire's most vital resource, time itself. Machu Picchu stands as a testament to a civilization that saw no separation between the spiritual and the scientific, viewing the cosmos as a living partner in the daily work of sustaining a world. The precision of the Inca, built upon mountain peaks, finds a stunning parallel on a windswept Mediterranean island. On the southern coast of Malta, the Mnajdra temple complex rises from a limestone plateau overlooking the sea. Built between 3,600 and 3,200 years before the Common Era, these structures are older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids, making them among the most ancient freestanding stone buildings on Earth. Their weathered, curving walls, built from massive slabs without the use of metal tools, speak of a forgotten culture with a profound and urgent need to commune with the sky. The genius of Mnajdra lies not in one grand alignment, but in a symphony of light orchestrated across an entire solar year. The complex's lower temple is the masterwork. Its main doorway is not merely an entrance, it is a celestial targeting device. On the mornings of the spring and autumn equinox, when day and night are perfectly balanced, the first sliver of the rising sun appears on the horizon and sends a razor-thin beam of light directly through that central portal. This beam travels down the temple's central corridor, illuminating the axis of the entire sacred space in a moment of perfect symmetry. But the builders did not stop with the equinoxes. They engineered the temple to capture the sun at its extremes as well. For the summer solstice, the longest day, the sunlight does not enter through the main door. Instead, it finds a specially designed aperture, a narrow gap in the left-hand doorjamb. This creates a distinct, angled beam that strikes a specific limestone slab deep inside the temple. Come the winter solstice, the shortest day, the opposite occurs. The sun enters through a slot on the right-hand side, casting its light onto a different, carefully chosen altar or marker stone. This is not a single alignment, but a calibrated three-point system built into one structure. The implications are staggering. To achieve this, the Mnajdra builders needed more than just a casual awareness of the sun's movement. They required generations of meticulous observation, tracking the sun's rising point as it migrated along the horizon over centuries. They had to understand the solar cycle with enough precision to design architectural features that would filter light in specific ways on specific days, millennia before written records or modern mathematics. This temple was almost certainly a ceremonial calendar in stone. For an island society dependent on agriculture and the sea, knowing the exact timing of the solstices and equinoxes was a matter of survival. It dictated when to plant, when to harvest, and when to prepare for the changing seasons. The ritual illumination of specific altars would have transformed abstract astronomical knowledge into a powerful communal experience, a visible promise from the heavens that the cycle of life would continue. Mnajdra stands as a quiet, monumental testament to a people who, at the very dawn of monumental architecture, chose to build their sacred space not just for themselves, but as a permanent receptacle for the light of the sun itself. The delicate interplay of light and shadow at Mnajdra finds a breathtaking echo in the high desert of the American Southwest. In the vast, silent expanse of Chaco Canyon, New Mexico, the ancestral Pueblones engineered a celestial clock of astonishing subtlety. High atop a towering sandstone formation called Fajada Butte, they discovered a perfect collaboration between art, astronomy, and geology. Here, 3 massive stone slabs had fallen, leaning against the cliff face in a natural but fortuitous arrangement. In front of these rocks, ancient artists pecked 2 precise spiral petroglyphs into the cliff wall. This was not random decoration. It was the setting for a phenomenon now known as the sun dagger. On the longest day of the year, the summer solstice, a single, sharp dagger of sunlight pierces through a narrow gap between the slabs. This brilliant beam does not simply fall anywhere. It slices with perfect accuracy down through the very center of the larger spiral petroglyph. It is a moment of piercing alignment, a needle of light threading the eye of a stone glyph. But the system is even more sophisticated. On the winter solstice, the shortest day, the sun's angle shifts. Now two distinct daggers of light appear, framing the same large spiral, one on each side, as if holding the symbol in a bracket of pure illumination. And during the equinoxes, when day and night are equal, the single dagger of light moves to perfectly bisect a smaller, nearby spiral. This is not a monument built from quarried stone, but a calendar engineered from the existing landscape. The ancestral Pueblones were master observers, recognizing how these fallen slabs could act as a natural aperture, a cosmic lens filtering sunlight into specific, meaningful patterns on specific, all-important days. This passive instrument required no moving parts, only the patient, generational knowledge of the sun's slow journey. For the community living in the challenging, arid environment of Chaco, this was vital knowledge made visible. The sun dagger's appearance would have signaled the critical turning points of the year, dictating the timing for planting crops in the canyon's thin soil, for harvesting, and for the ceremonial gatherings that bound the community together. It transformed an abstract celestial event into a public, undeniable spectacle on the cliff face, a shared confirmation that the cosmos was proceeding as it should. The site embodies a profound principle that one does not always need to move mountains to mark the heavens. Sometimes, you simply need to learn how to read the light already falling upon them. The silent stone calendars of Chaco Canyon speak of a sun intimately known. Yet for the Maya, the sun was only one actor in a far more crowded celestial theater. Back within the grand city of Chichen Itza, a strange, round tower stands apart from the angular pyramids and platforms. This is the Caracol, a name meaning snail, given for the spiral staircase that once wound within its core. Its unconventional, almost modern appearance, with a circular tower atop a rectangular platform, has long hinted at a unique purpose. Unlike the public spectacle of El Castillo, the Caracol functioned as a precision instrument, a dedicated observatory for tracking a single, wandering star, the planet Venus. In Maya cosmology, Venus was not a mere point of light. It was a deity of immense power and duality, known as Kukulkan in his feathered serpent form, but also associated with the war god. Venus's cyclical appearances and disappearances were meticulously charted and deeply feared. Its movements were believed to directly dictate the timing of war, the success of harvests, and the fate of rulers. Tracking it with absolute accuracy was therefore a matter of state security and spiritual survival. The architects of the Caracol engineered its very walls to serve this vital need. They pierced the upper tower with a series of narrow, diagonal slits, windows that seem almost accidental. But their placement is deliberate and brilliant. These slits align with the extreme points on the horizon where Venus sets over an 8-year cycle, a period the Maya understood with remarkable precision. One slit captures the planet at its most northerly setting, another at its most southerly. By observing through which slit Venus was visible, a priest astronomer could pinpoint its exact position in its long, complex dance with the sun. But the Caracol's vision was not limited to one planet. Other carefully placed apertures align with the setting sun on the equinoxes, and still others with the moon's most extreme northern setting point. This transforms the tower from a single-purpose tool into a multi-functional observatory, a stone computer capable of synchronizing the cycles of the sun, the moon, and the most important planet in their sky. This represents a profound evolution in celestial architecture. It marks a shift from monuments that capture a single, dramatic solar event to a dedicated facility for continuous, patient observation of the heavens' more subtle and complex rhythms. The data gathered here fed directly into the Mayas' intricate calendar systems, like the sacred Tzolk'in and the long count, allowing them to predict Venus's phases decades, even centuries in advance. They did not see these alignments as mere astronomy, but as reading the intentions of the gods themselves. The silent observation from within the Caracol's chamber likely determined the calendar for ceremonies, for royal coronations, and perhaps even for conflict. It embodies a civilization that looked at the cosmos and saw not random lights, but a detailed, divine script governing every aspect of life on Earth, a script they learned to read by framing the sky through stone. The Mayas' intricate tracking of Venus reveals a sky crowded with meaning. Yet this sophisticated understanding has roots far deeper than their civilization, reaching back to a time before metal, before the wheel, even before the pyramids of Egypt. In the quiet farmland of Saxony-Anhalt, Germany, the Earth holds the memory of a structure so ancient it resets our entire timeline. This is the Goseck Circle, a monument built around 4,900 years before the Common Era. It is not made of stone but of wood, a material that has long since returned to the soil. All that remained for modern archaeologists were dark, circular stains in the earth, the ghostly impressions of post holes. Yet from these silent marks, a breathtaking blueprint emerged. The circle was reconstructed, revealing 3 concentric rings of wooden palisades, interrupted by just 3 narrow gates. Its simplicity is its genius. 2 of these gates stand in perfect opposition to each other, one facing southeast, the other northwest. On the dawn of the winter solstice, the year's shortest day, an observer standing at the exact center of the circle would witness the sun rise precisely through the southeastern gate. As that same low sun set hours later, its final rays would pour directly through the opposite northwestern gate, creating a corridor of light that bisected the entire enclosure. A third gate, aligned to the northeast, captured the summer solstice sunrise. This design is a masterclass in elegant, purposeful observation. The narrow wooden apertures acted like a camera's viewfinder, framing the solstice sun with a clarity that eliminated all ambiguity. For a people living intimately with the land, this precision was not abstract astronomy. It was vital, practical knowledge. The Goseck Circle predates Stonehenge by over 2,000 years, a staggering fact that forces us to reconsider a narrative we thought we knew. It tells us that the drive to monumentalize the solar cycle, to build permanent markers in the landscape that spoke to the heavens, was not a late development of complex societies. It was a foundational impulse among Europe's very first farming communities. These early farmers, whose survival depended entirely on the rhythm of the seasons, needed to know with certainty when the sun would begin its return, when the deep cold would relent and the cycle of growth could begin again. The circle provided that communal certainty. It transformed the solitary experience of watching the horizon into a shared, ceremonial event within a consecrated space. The Goseck Circle is a whisper from a world we can barely comprehend, a testament that the first great human collaboration may not have been for war or trade, but for the collective, sacred task of measuring time itself by the only reliable clock they had, the sun. Deep within a mountain, an entire temple was carved to wait for the sun. At Abu Simbel in southern Egypt, the great temple of Ramses II is not a structure built from stone, but a monument excavated from it, hewn directly into the sandstone cliffs around 1264 years before the Common Era. Its colossal facade, guarded by 4 seated statues of the pharaoh himself, each over 20 meters tall, presents an image of overwhelming, eternal power. But the temple's true genius lies hidden in its interior, in a feat of solar engineering so precise it feels like a divine appointment. The axis of the entire temple was calculated with breathtaking accuracy. Twice each year, originally around February 22nd and October 22nd, the rising sun in the eastern sky performs a carefully scripted ritual. As dawn breaks, its first rays penetrate the temple's single, deep doorway. They do not merely spill inside, they travel as a focused beam, navigating a 60-meter-long corridor that cuts through the mountain's heart, past a grand hall of towering pillars carved to resemble the pharaoh, and finally arrive at the most sacred space, the innermost sanctuary. There, carved into the back wall, sit 4 statues on a bench, 3 gods and a king. For several minutes, the creeping sunlight illuminates 3 of these figures, bathing them in a brilliant, golden glow. They are the sun god Ra-Horakhti, the state god Amun, and a deified statue of Ramses II himself. The pharaoh, in stone and light, is literally placed in the company of the gods. But the 4th statue of Ptah, the god of darkness and the underworld, remains forever in shadow, untouched by the sun's rays. This is not a happy accident of architecture. This is a meticulously engineered theological statement. The alignment was almost certainly timed to coincide with symbolic dates in the king's life, potentially his coronation and his birthday. On these 2 mornings each year, the sun itself was enlisted to perform a ceremony of renewal and validation. It physically demonstrated the pharaoh's eternal, luminous connection to the solar deities, proving his rule was not merely political, but a fundamental part of the cosmic order. The event transformed abstract belief into an undeniable sensory experience for the priests who witnessed it. The deliberate exclusion of Ptah from the light is the masterstroke, a recognition that even in a celebration of solar power, the realm of darkness had its essential place in the balanced universe. Abu Simbel is perhaps the ultimate expression of divine kingship in stone, a mountain turned into a clock that tells time not in hours, but in epochs, using the sun as its single, faithful hand. While the sun and planets commanded the attention of empires, a quieter, more constant language was being read from the plains of North America. High in the Big Horn Mountains of Wyoming, at an elevation where the air is thin and the sky feels close enough to touch, a different kind of celestial map is laid out upon the earth. This is the Big Horn Medicine Wheel, a sacred pattern of stones arranged in a perfect spoked wheel design, its origins reaching back several hundred years and held in reverence by numerous Native American tribes. Its form is elegantly simple, a central cairn of stone surrounded by a stone ring, with 28 spokes radiating outward like the rays of the sun, connecting to a larger outer ring. But the true complexity of this place is written not in its form, but in its sightlines to the stars. Unlike the grand solar spectacles of Egypt or Mesoamerica, the primary alignments here are stellar. Carefully placed cairns of stones positioned around the wheel's outer circumference act as permanent stone markers, each one aiming like a frozen pointer toward a specific point on the distant horizon. These cairns do not target the sun. Instead, they frame the rising and setting positions of brilliant, fixed stars during the crucial time of the summer solstice. Key alignments point to the heliacal rising of Aldebaran, the red eye of the constellation Taurus, the bright blue-white star Rigel in Orion, and the dazzling Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. For the peoples of the high plains, these celestial events were not just beautiful, they were essential. The first pre-dawn appearance of Aldebaran, for instance, after a period of being lost in the sun's glare, served as a precise calendar marker. It signaled that the summer solstice was near, a time to begin vital ceremonies, to prepare for communal hunts that would sustain the tribe through the coming seasons, or to initiate the great migrations that followed the herds across the vast landscape. The wheel represents a profound and distinct astronomical tradition, one that used the timeless, fixed stars as a reliable, unchanging guide. In a life of movement and immense open spaces, where the horizon was a constant companion, these stars provided a stable framework in the turning sky. They were the unwavering landmarks in a celestial geography, offering direction, timing, and spiritual meaning. This stone diagram on a mountaintop showcases the beautiful diversity of human cosmic observation. It reminds us that while some cultures built towering monuments to capture the sun's journey, others created subtle, integrated maps upon the land itself, using the eternal stars to navigate both the physical challenges of the plains and the sacred cycles of their culture. From the open plains of Wyoming, we descend into the heart of a different empire, where architecture sought not to target a single star, but to frame the entire sky. In the bustling center of ancient Rome, the Pantheon stands as a marvel of concrete and cosmic philosophy. Rebuilt under Emperor Hadrian around 126 years after the Common Era, it represents a radical departure from the precise solar alignments we have seen. Here, the goal was not to capture a fleeting moment of solstice light, but to invite the ever-changing heavens themselves inside. The key to this ambition is the oculus, a perfect, unglazed circle 9 meters wide at the very crown of the massive dome. This is not a window, but an open eye gazing perpetually upward. It creates a living, breathing connection between the solemn interior and the dynamic sky above. Sunlight pours through this opening, painting a brilliant disk of light that travels slowly across the coffered ceiling and down the walls, functioning as the world's most majestic indoor sundial. This moving spotlight marks the passage of the hours, and its changing path across the floor charts the shifting seasons. Rain falls through it in gentle sheets, and on clear nights, moonlight streams into the sacred space. The building accepts all aspects of the cosmos, light and shadow, clarity and storm, in a continuous, unscripted performance. Yet within this philosophy of constant change, a moment of perfect symbolism was still engineered. The axis of the rotunda was carefully calculated. Each year, at midday on April 21st, the traditional founding date of Rome, the sun reaches its zenith. The beam of light entering through the oculus transforms into a radiant, vertical pillar, illuminating the great bronze doors of the main entrance in a blaze of golden light. For that moment, the symbolic gateway to the city is flooded with celestial illumination. This was a powerful public statement. It visually connected the emperor, who would have stood in that luminous path during ceremonies, and the very identity of Rome, to the approving gaze of the sun god. The Pantheon's genius lies in its dual nature. It is both a temple to all the gods, as its name suggests, and a monumental instrument of time. It does not attempt to control or predict the cosmos with a single alignment. Instead, it surrenders to its totality, creating a space where Romans could literally stand beneath the heavens, protected yet exposed, reminded of both the orderly march of time and the sublime, unpredictable beauty of the sky. It is architecture as humility and grandeur combined, a silent acknowledgement that while empires rise and fall, the cosmic theater above plays on forever. The Pantheon's open surrender to the sky offers a stunning contrast to a temple that sought to perfectly mirror the entire cosmos in stone. In the dense jungles of Cambodia, Angkor Wat rises from the earth, not as a mere building, but as a complete, three-dimensional map of Hindu mythology. Constructed in the 12th century as a funerary temple for King Suryavarman II, its scale is staggering, a testament to an empire's devotion. Yet its most profound mystery is written in its cardinal direction. While almost all Hindu temples face east toward the rising sun and new beginnings, Angkor Wat defiantly, deliberately faces west. This was not an architectural error, but a profound cosmological choice. The Western orientation aligns the entire, sprawling complex with the setting sun during the spring equinox. On that evening, from a carefully chosen vantage point along the main causeway, the sun does not simply set behind the temple, it performs a precise celestial coronation. As it descends, it appears to balance directly atop the central, lotus bud tower, the symbolic summit of the universe. This fleeting moment transforms the temple from a static monument into a dynamic participant in the solar cycle, visually linking the king's eternal resting place with the sun god Surya, whose name the king bore. But the alignments reach beyond the sun. Scholars studying the temple's unique layout have proposed a fascinating stellar connection. The 5 iconic towers arranged in a quincunx pattern may not be random. Some researchers suggest their positions correlate with the stars of the constellation Draco, the dragon, as they would have appeared in the sky above Anchor in the 12th century. This potential stellar blueprint deepens the temple's symbolic function as a celestial map. At its core, Angkor Wat is an architectural representation of Mount Meru, the sacred mountain at the center of the Hindu and Buddhist universe, home to the gods. Its concentric galleries and moats are not just defensive features, they are literal depictions of the mountain's rings and the surrounding cosmic ocean. Every bridge, every bas-relief telling epic stories, every step toward the central tower is a symbolic journey through the layers of existence. The precise alignments to the equinox sun, and possibly to Draco, served a vital purpose. They anchored this elaborate symbolic geography to the observable, predictable movements of the heavens. The temple was a functioning model of the cosmos, a machine for making the abstract principles of creation physically and visually real. For a pilgrim walking its causeways, the experience was a journey through a divine blueprint, where the architecture underfoot and the sky overhead told the same eternal story, proving that heaven and earth were not separate realms but reflections of a single, ordered truth. The descent of the sun into the underworld at Angkor Wat finds a hauntingly personal echo in the mist-shrouded rainforests of southern Mexico. Within the ancient Maya city of Palenque, the Temple of the Inscriptions stands not just as a monument, but as a meticulously engineered portal for a king's final journey. This pyramid was built with a singular, profound purpose: to serve as the eternal resting place of one of Palenque's greatest rulers, Kayinish Janab Pakal, known to us simply as King Pakal. His reign, spanning most of the 7th century, was a golden age for the city, a time of architectural splendor and political resurgence. The temple itself is a masterpiece, its stepped facade inscribed with hundreds of hieroglyphs that recount the dynastic history of Palenque, a stone library ensuring his legacy would endure. But the true genius of this structure is not in the text on its walls, but in the silent, annual performance of light and shadow orchestrated by its alignment. The central staircase of the temple is the key to this celestial drama. It was not placed by chance. Its entire axis is oriented with breathtaking precision toward the southwestern horizon. On the evening of the winter solstice, the year's shortest day, an observer standing at the summit would witness a spectacle of profound symbolic power. As the sun begins its final descent, it does not simply slip behind the distant hills. Instead, it appears to align perfectly with the steep incline of the staircase itself. From that vantage point, the dying sun seems to roll down the stone steps, as if descending a radiant pathway into the earth. This is no mere visual coincidence. It is architecture choreographed with the solar cycle to enact a sacred metaphor every single year. This alignment is a direct, physical echo of King Pakal's own mythical journey, a story immortalized on the intricately carved lid of his sarcophagus, discovered deep within a crypt at the pyramid's heart. That famous carving depicts the king at the moment of his passing, not as an end, but as a transformative fall. He is shown reclining, descending down the trunk of the world tree, the central axis of the Maya cosmos, into the watery realm of Xibalba, the underworld. The temple's solstice alignment brings this myth to life in light. The staircase becomes the world tree, and the setting sun becomes the spirit of the king, eternally retracing his path to the other world. It is a permanent reenactment, a promise written in stone and sunlight. In this design, the Maya fused astronomy, mythology, and mortal legacy into an unbreakable whole. The temple was more than a tomb, it was a machine for memory. By aligning it with the solstice sun, the architects ensured that Pacul's passage would be commemorated not just by people, but by the cosmos itself. Each year, as the sun performed its ritual descent, it reaffirmed the king's continued existence within the cosmic order, his spirit forever linked to the cyclical death and rebirth of the sun. This connection transformed his personal journey into a universal truth, a reminder that even the greatest ruler was part of a larger celestial narrative. The Temple of the Inscriptions does not simply point to the sky. It uses the sky to tell a story of transcendence, making the boundary between this world and the next feel not like a wall, but a staircase illuminated once a year by a setting sun. From the dense, mythic jungles of Palinck, we emerge onto the sweeping, open chalk downs of southern England. Here, the canvas for celestial art was not quarried stone, but the living hillside itself. High on the slope of Uffington Hill, a giant, stylized horse has been galloping across the green for perhaps 3,000 years. This is the Uffington White Horse, a monumental geoglyph created not by building up, but by cutting away. Ancient artists carved deep trenches into the hillside, exposing the brilliant white chalk bedrock beneath the turf. This is not a portrait of an animal, but an exercise in flowing, abstract lines, a symbol of power and motion permanently etched into the land. Its true purpose remains one of prehistory's most captivating mysteries. Was it a tribal emblem, a territorial marker for a people claiming this high ground, or the focus of rituals meant to invoke the speed and strength of the horse? While we may never know the exact ceremonies performed here, the figure's very form and commanding position whisper of a deep connection to the sky above. Some researchers looking at its unique, serpentine shape have proposed a fascinating stellar hypothesis. They suggest the elongated, undulating body of the horse may mirror the sinuous pattern of the constellation Draco, the dragon, as it coiled across the northern sky in the Bronze Age. This would transform the hill from a mere image into a terrestrial reflection of a celestial guardian. Even more tangible is its relationship with the sun. If you stand at a specific point, often interpreted as the horse's eye, and gaze northeast on the dawn of the summer solstice, the year's longest day, the view is deliberate. The first sliver of the rising sun would have broken the horizon precisely over a distant notch in the landscape called Dragon Hill. This alignment is too precise to be coincidence. It means the creators of the White Horse engineered their artwork not just for viewers on the ground below, but for an audience that included the sun itself. The solstice sunrise became an annual participant in the scene, its light first touching the land at a point named for the very dragon constellation the horse might represent. This changes our understanding of what an alignment can be. It was not confined within temple walls or framed by doorways. At Uffington, the entire rolling landscape became the architecture. The hill figure, the distant horizon markers, and the path of the sun were all integrated into a single, vast, open-air observatory and ceremonial stage. This was astronomy on a truly epic scale, where community identity, artistic expression, and celestial observation were fused into the very skin of the earth. To stand before the White Horse is to understand that for these ancient people, the border between the earthly realm and the cosmic one was not a line, but a continuous, living tapestry woven from chalk, grass, and light. Beneath the open sky of Chaco Canyon lies a chamber built to hold the cosmos. While Fajada Butt captured the sun on a cliff face, the ancestral Pueblones also engineered their sacred spaces below ground, in the profound darkness of the Great Kiva. Casa Rinconada, a massive circular chamber excavated from the earth, represents this inward turn. Its very form is a universe in miniature, a symbolic representation of the underworld and the place of emergence from which their ancestors entered this world. Stepping down into its cool, enclosed space was a ritual journey in itself, leaving the everyday sky behind to enter a realm where architecture and astronomy became one. The genius of this kiva is written in its perfect symmetry and its precise apertures for light. Directly opposite each other on the north and south walls are two small, recessed niches. This north-south alignment is no accident of construction. It forms a sacred axis within the ceremonial space, but the true celestial connection is revealed by a single, carefully constructed shaft built into the eastern wall. This was not a random air vent. It was a calibrated instrument, a solar targeting device. On the morning of the summer solstice, as the sun crests the distant mesa, its first light finds this narrow shaft. A brilliant beam pierces the total darkness of the kiva's interior, striking a specific point on the western wall. For a few sacred minutes, this ray of dawn illuminates the heart of the underworld, a dramatic infusion of solar power into the symbolic realm of emergence. This alignment suggests the kiva was a stage for ceremonies precisely timed to this pivotal solar event, perhaps rituals of renewal, initiation, or community blessing that coincided with the sun's peak power. Yet the north-south niches hint at an even more subtle observation. Some researchers propose these opposing openings could have been used to mark the meridian passage of stars, the moment when a star reaches its highest point in the night sky directly to the south or north. By sitting within the kiva and sighting through these niches, a priest or sky watcher could track these celestial high points with remarkable accuracy, using the fixed architecture as a stable reference against the turning sky. This transforms Casa Rinconada from a simple chamber into a multi-functional observatory, harmonizing solar and stellar cycles within a single, sacred geometry. Here, spiritual practice was not separate from astronomical reality. It was built upon it. The ceremonies held in that solstice-lit darkness were grounded in the most fundamental truths their builders knew: the predictable return of the sun and the steadfast paths of the stars. It was a way of weaving the community's most profound rituals directly into the fabric of the universe, ensuring that their prayers and traditions resonated with the eternal rhythm of the cosmos itself. The profound integration of celestial rhythms into daily life reaches perhaps its most ambitious scale in the Valley of Mexico. Here, the ruins of Teotihuacan rise from the high plain, a metropolis so vast and meticulously ordered it feels like a city designed by gods. Its central spine is the Calzada de los Muertos, the Avenue of the Dead, a grand processional way nearly 2.5 kilometers long, flanked by the massive bulk of the Pyramid of the Sun and culminating at the Pyramid of the Moon. This is not a haphazard collection of monuments, but a single, unified architectural statement. The entire city is laid out on a rigid grid, yet its central axis holds a fascinating secret. The Avenue of the Dead is not aligned to true north or to any cardinal direction we might expect. Instead, it is offset by precisely 15.5 degrees to the east. This is not an error in ancient surveying, but a deliberate, city-wide targeting of the heavens. One of the most compelling explanations points to the stars, specifically to a shimmering cluster known to later Aztec peoples as Chanquistli, the marketplace. We know it as the Pleiades. For the Teotihuacanos, this tight knot of stars was not just a beautiful sight, it was a vital celestial clock. Its first pre-dawn appearance, or helical rising, marked a critical moment in the Mesoamerican calendar, signaling the beginning of the new year and the all-important rainy season upon which agriculture depended. Researchers studying the site's orientation have found that, when viewed from the summit of the Pyramid of the Sun during this key period over 2,000 years ago, the Pleiades would have set directly along the line of the Avenue of the Dead, descending as if into the heart of the city itself. This transforms the entire urban plan into a colossal observatory. The avenue becomes a terrestrial echo of a celestial pathway, a permanent stone channel guiding the stars into the realm of human activity. But the cosmic choreography does not end there. The pyramids themselves act as monumental sighting devices. The Pyramid of the Sun is aligned so that its western facade faces the setting point of the sun on the days it passes directly overhead, a significant solar event in this latitude. The Pyramid of the Moon, meanwhile, frames the northernmost setting of the Pleiades cluster. This is urban planning as cosmic diagram. Every citizen living within this rigorously ordered grid, from priest to farmer, was literally oriented within a landscape built to mirror the sky. Their daily movements, their market cycles, their grand ceremonies were all subconsciously synchronized to the rhythms of specific stars and the sun. Teotihuacan represents the ultimate expression of a belief that a thriving society must be physically anchored to the cosmos, its very streets and temples serving as a constant, silent reminder that human order is a reflection of a greater celestial order. Beneath the sun-drenched islands of Malta lies a world turned inside out. While the temple of Mnajdra above ground captured the sun with mathematical clarity, another site, carved into the very bedrock, suggests a conversation with a softer, more mysterious light. The hypogeum of Hal Saflieni is a labyrinth, a three-level underground complex hewn from solid limestone around 3,300 years before the Common Era. It is often described as a necropolis, a sacred resting place, its chambers holding the remains of thousands of individuals. Yet to see it only as a silent city of the departed may miss a crucial part of its story. Recent studies of its acoustics and its most enigmatic chamber hint at a purpose that reaches for the night sky. Deep within the lowest level lies a room archaeologists call the Holy of Holies. This is no ordinary cave, it is a masterpiece of mimicry, its architecture carefully carved to imitate the above-ground temples, complete with false doorways, corbelled ceilings, and painted spirals in red ochre. The space possesses a remarkable acoustic property, resonating at a specific frequency that seems to amplify and distort the human voice in unsettling, otherworldly ways. This has led some researchers to propose it may have functioned as an oracle chamber, where sound itself was used to bridge worlds, but the architectural mystery deepens with a small, seemingly insignificant opening. A narrow shaft connects from an upper level down into this sacred space. While most interpretations assume it was for ventilation or for lowering objects, a compelling alternative theory has emerged. What if this shaft was not for air but for light, specifically the cool, silvery light of the moon? The idea is that on certain nights, during key lunar phases, or at the extreme points of its long cycle known as a lunar standstill, moonlight could have filtered down this channel, piercing the absolute darkness of the Holy of Holies. If true, this transforms our understanding of the entire complex. The hypogeum would cease to be a static tomb and become a dynamic lunar observatory, a machine calibrated to the slower, more subtle rhythm of our celestial companion. In many ancient cultures, the moon was intimately linked to cycles of time, fertility, and the journey of the spirit after this life. Its light, gentle and reflective, was seen as a bridge to the realm of ancestors and regeneration. To design a space where that specific light could periodically reach the deepest chamber among those who had passed on would be an act of profound symbolism. It would create a direct, tangible connection between the cyclical rebirth of the moon in the sky and the cultural beliefs about renewal and the afterlife held within the earth. This possibility, while more speculative than the clear solar alignments at Mnajdra, adds a breathtaking layer of meaning. It suggests the builders of Malta did not just worship the sun's life-giving power, but also sought to integrate the moon's mystical, cyclical nature into their most sacred rituals. The hypogeum becomes a place of dual communion, where the living could descend to encounter not just the memory of their ancestors, but to witness, in a beam of borrowed light, the eternal promise of the night sky itself, a soft echo in the dark assuring them that endings are always followed by new beginnings. The moon's gentle light over Malta finds its most dedicated earthly home in the cradle of civilization itself. In the flat, fertile lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the Sumerians raised a mountain for a god who ruled the night. The Great Ziggurat of constructed around 2,100 years before the Common Era by King Namu, was not merely a building, it was a colossal stairway built for a single divine passenger. This massive stepped pyramid, with its 3 monumental staircases converging at a single lofty gateway, was dedicated entirely to Nana, the wise and gentle god of the moon. In the harsh Mesopotamian landscape, where the sun could be a relentless force, the moon's cooler, predictable, cyclical light held profound cultural power. It governed the rhythms of the night, influenced the tides of the rivers that gave life, and provided a reliable measure of time in its silent phases. The ziggurat was the physical anchor of this relationship, a man-made mountain designed to bridge the vast distance between the bustling city below and its celestial patron above. Its very alignment was likely a mirror of the lunar cycle itself. While the precise astronomical sightlines are harder to trace than solar alignments, the structure's purpose leaves little doubt. The 3 great staircases, each with 100 steps, were not for public use. They were sacred pathways reserved for priests who would ascend in ritual procession, performing ceremonies that echoed the moon's own journey across the dome of the sky. Each climb was a symbolic reenactment, a human effort to meet the divine on its own terms. At the summit, in a temple that has long since vanished, these priests would conduct offerings and observations, serving as intermediaries who translated the silent language of the lunar phases into a calendar that ordered all of Sumerian life. This calendar, based on the moon cycles, dictated the timing of religious festivals, agricultural activities, and civic duties. The ziggurat, therefore, was more than a temple. It was the central cog in a society's temporal machinery. Its dominant position on the flat plain meant it was visible for miles in every direction, a constant, towering reminder that human time was a humble reflection of celestial time. It stood as a testament to a profound idea that to build a stable society, one must first build a monument to the very rhythm of the night, crafting a stairway of baked brick and ambition where heaven and earth could quite literally meet on the stairs. This journey across time and stone tells a single, unified story. From the pyramids of Egypt to the medicine wheels of Wyoming, from the jungles of Cambodia to the plains of England, a shared impulse emerges from the silence of these ruins. Our ancestors, separated by oceans and millennia, all chose to speak to the sky. They built not just monuments but conversations, using the only language they knew would last forever: the predictable motion of celestial bodies. This was far more than early science or primitive engineering. It was a profound act of meaning-making. By anchoring their temples, tombs, and cities to the solstice sun, the equinox light, or the helical rising of a star, they wove the vast, impersonal cycles of the cosmos directly into the intimate fabric of their daily lives. The heavens dictated when to plant and harvest, when to celebrate and mourn, when to crown a king and honor the departed. These alignments transformed abstract astronomy into the foundation of religion, the validation of political power, the calendar for agriculture, and the rhythm of community. They express a deep human intuition that we are not separate from the universe, but participants within a larger, magnificent order. Our modern world, with its artificial light drowning out the stars and digital screens measuring our hours, risks severing that ancient, vital connection. We have gained incredible precision, yet we have lost the daily, awe-inspiring reminder that our time is cosmic time. These 20 structures stand as a silent challenge to us. They ask us to look up from our small screens and gaze again at the immense one above. They invite us to marvel at the patience and precision of those who came before, who moved mountains to mark a sunrise with nothing but observation, memory, and determination. The stars were humanity's first clock, our original calendar, our most reliable compass. This legacy, written in stone and aligned with light, is a testament to an endless, unifying curiosity. It is a story that asks not where we are, but when we are, reminding every generation that to wonder about our place in the grand cosmic story is the most human project of all.